everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Fallout 4 ASMR. In this one, we'll be taking the time to power level a little bit in Sanctuary by scrapping everything and taking all the supplies that we can manage to carry. Let's take a quick look around to see if we can find anything of value. There might be some more 10mm ammunition. Before I get too far into the video, I want to wish everybody a good day or a good night, whenever or wherever you may be. I hope your day is going extremely well. This video is going to be fairly chill, since the whole process of going through Sanctuary is incredibly boring. Which hopefully is going to be perfect for an ASMR video. Look at this cozy little creek back here. I never noticed that before. Blood leaves. I don't think I need those. Here's a fun fact, by the way, a very hardware-intensive graphical option in this is, I like that little musical sting that they give you when you first find Sanctuary. I forgot about that. That's a nice little touch. But shadows, by the way, are probably one of the most intensive options in this game. If you find you're having performance issues, most likely it's going to be the shadows. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I genuinely do not care about any of the dialogue in this game. I stopped caring about what people have to say a long time ago when I was playing this, because a lot of it genuinely just does not matter. You'll find a way to your goal one way or the other, and most of the time, the other way is the more fun option. So honestly, I'm kind of just gonna skip through this because it's mad boring. Yeah. I love that. Yep, sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna... You okay, dude? What's my charisma on this character? I can't remember. I think there's only like 3 times in the game where your dialogue choices kind of matter and you should pay attention to them. But really, you have like 3 different ways to say yes and 1 sarcastic option. That's mainly why I don't like the dialogue. Even if I'm playing like Fallout 3, I'll take the time, a lot of the time, to like go over the dialogue. It's nothing like New Vegas, but like even Fallout 3 had better dialogue than this. When they went to the little dialogue wheel, it kind of blew it up for the worse. So now we're following Codsworth. Let me double check something real quick. Agility is at 9, so I lined that up for the special book to get to 10, I think. That was probably my intention there, so I think I'm going to do that. This is probably my least favorite part of the game, I'd say. I'm gonna just let Cosworth go crazy, bro. Like, I'm not really too worried about the XP. He can have fun. Like, he'll drag you around the whole neighborhood. Spout off some bullshit and just kind of generally be a little bit annoying. So, I don't know. I never really developed any deep connections to any of the characters in this game. Even the companions, even though I've never really gone out of my way to get to know any of them, to be honest. Really went to Codsworth, but I can't. That's a little bit silly. Like Nick Valentine, I find a bit bothersome. Kate, I find massively annoying. Same with Piper. Paladin Dance is alright, I guess, but you know, he's a synth, so. Yeah, it's fine, dude, don't worry. Okay, now for the important part. Let's tear this place down, look for anything we can that's of value, and just, you know, take it for ourselves. No better place to start than this little modular home. I think I went into a little bit of detail about these enamel metal paneled homes in the last video, and as you can see, they most definitely are. These Lustron homes made of stainless steel enamel coated panels, which is really, really cool. Something fairly uniquely American and 1950s. Kind of, you know, there's a lot of things I can criticize about this game, you know. A lot of the times the art direction, I don't like the way they went with it, but I don't have any bobby pins. What? Dude, there were bobby pins in the vault. How the fuck did I? Okay. Let's go back real quick. I'm 90% sure there were bobby pins on the floor of the vault. So let's go back and check that out. One thing I never understood with this game is the abnormally long load screens. Like, just something about the loading times kind of always bothered me. Looks like the game crashed. Oh, nope. We're in. I could have sworn we had bobby pins. Dude, just hurry up, please. Most of the playthrough I'll just be calmly walking through the environments and trying to take it all in. But in this case, we're backtracking for something that I should have already had, so we're gonna try and just jog through it. Were there really no bobby pins in this place, man? Dresser. Like, nothing on top, nothing on the... Dude. What? Okay, whatever, yo. Weird. I could have sworn that they just gave you bobby pins in the beginning because it's kind of like a tutorial item. But I guess I was wrong for some reason. Time to go to the wiki and double check. Oh, I see. There was supposed to be a box of bobby pins in the dresser, on the dresser. But apparently, if you set the difficulty all the way up, it just straight up will not, which is interesting. It's kind of, I don't know, the lock-picking system is always something I took issue with, but I never figured I'd take issue with exactly when they give you bobby pins. You know what, let's start at this end of the street now that we're here. Start with this house and work our way all the way back. But it's kind of a weird thing to restrict access to try and like block progression. Like it's not really gonna do a crazy amount to not get bobby pins until later. It's just kind of like annoying, I guess. In general, the way that bobby pins and lockpicking and hacking are handled is definitely mad annoying, especially since they've hard locked the lockpicking skills behind various levels. Like for example, locksmith, you can get that with level 1. Your nimble fingers allow you to pick advanced locks, but now you have to be level 7 to get into an expert lock, and you have to be level 18 to get into a master lock. Whereas in most of my Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 playthroughs, I tend to dump a lot of points into lockpicking and, depending on the character, sometimes science. But like no bobby pins. That's just weird, man. Like actually weird, like foul weird. Like now I'm just stuck with all these safes that I have to remember the locations of for no real reason besides the developers thought it'd be harder for me to not have bobby pins. Like that genuinely doesn't make the game harder, it makes it more annoying. Because I can still get by pretty okay without bobby pins. It just bothersome to a massive degree, like genuinely massively annoying. Because it's something pretty arbitrary that should be popping up, that should be spawning, that due to the difficulty setting simply isn't. And it's not making the game harder, it's making it just more tedious. Because now I just have to remember where all these safes are. As soon as I get one single bobby pin, I just have to come rushing back and unlock all the safes in Sanctuary, and this might delay me looting, or not looting, well obviously it's gonna delay me looting Sanctuary. It's gonna delay me like scrapping Sanctuary because I can't get rid of containers with items in it. Or I could, but it'd be like a waste. And there's, I don't know, maybe the loot tables are different on higher difficulties because I'm just not getting shit. Like it's definitely more trouble than it's worth, I think. Not more trouble than worth. It just not a good decision. There's like a million different ways it could have made the game harder besides simply not giving me bobby pins. Yeah, I know how to do this. It's another annoying fast. Try it, the A in the second slot. Yeah. Really? Can I not even... Dude, I can't even open the safe from this. Great. Like, there is zero reason I should have no bobby pins right now. Like restricting the player to, like restricting the player in such a massive way, like all this available loot, it's not like fun, it just feels cheap. Bethesda's a bunch of fucking idiots for doing this, man. And they definitely messed with the loot tables, because you're supposed to be finding like mad shit in this place. well, I mean not like mad shit, but like more than nothing. Because as it stands right now, Sanctuary is pretty much barren. Like no container has anything in it. If this is Todd Howard's idea of difficulty, you know, give the player absolutely no loot and jack up all the health on the enemies, all that shit, that's genuinely pretty disgusting, dude. Like, if I don't find any bobby pins in this place, I'm just gonna console command some in. Like, no cap. Like, dead serious. I'm just gonna, like, add item, about 5 of them. Because there is just no reason for this. Trash can Carla isn't even here. Like, do they expect me to wait until I get to Drumlin Diner to try and buy some? That's ridiculous. Oh, there we go. One whole bobby pin. God forbid it breaks. Alright, so I can stop complaining now. Let's head back and try to unlock some stuff. I'm not quite able to pick advanced locks yet, but I think that'll be my first perk point. But that just give me another bobby pin. That's okay, I guess. Like literally all that happened from me not getting a bobby pin in Vault 111 was me waiting until I had to find one in Sanctuary. I don't see the point in that. The bobby pin should probably be like a guaranteed spawn in Vault 111. That's just not, I don't know, it's not engaging, man. But that's enough about bobby pins. There was another safe in here, man. I know it. It's somewhere. Alright. In the early game, food is actually a pretty effective way to recover health. Obviously, as time goes on, you know, food becomes much less efficient. But as of right now, in the very early game, you know, you can kind of do what you want. A lot of enemies are like, you know, one-shots and stuff like that, but we can wait to scrap a lot of this stuff until we get into the settlement menu. I'm really just kind of going through here looking for medicine and valuables mainly. Let's see here. Let's go inside our house first. Let's take a look at what we got going on. I can't remember if this is supposed to be like a big moment. You know, finally returning home after, you know, 200 years and seeing what happened, all the devastation. But honestly, I kind of find it to be like fairly low impact. End of the day, these people are like, you know, we just met them. Like, it's definitely impactful for our character, like Nate. It's a big moment for Nate. But for me as the player, it's pretty mid. Like, legitimately, it's just kind of like, you know, oh cool. I'm glad I got to see what this place was like before the bombs fell, sort of moment. And now that it's all like that, it's like back to normal. You know, that's like our baseline for the games. So like seeing everything completely devastated isn't like this big emotional thing, which I think it's kind of supposed to be. Like, I feel like Nate should be kind of freaking out more than he should be, or more than he is. I think that's like a big issue with, I'm gonna go with agility, max it out. I think that's kind of a big issue with this open world game, trying to have like a fairly good story to it like that, like a fairly heavy character driven story. I think the only open world game that really managed to pull that off is Metro Exodus, out of the ones I played anyway. And even still, Metro Exodus is like, it's a very linear open world, if that makes any sense. Oh, Red Dead 2. Red Dead Redemption 2. How could I ever forget about that game? Incredible characters, wonderful world building. Like, it just, Red Dead 2 worked phenomenally well. So it can be done, and it can be done really well. Like Metro Exodus and Red Dead 2 are wonderful open world games with, you know, a heavy story and, you know, all that. But Fallout 4 just misses the mark on everything. And you kind of get it in Red Dead 2. Not so much in Metro, because in Metro, like I said, the open world is still fairly linear. But your character's actions, like your actions as the character, a lot of the time don't fully represent your characters. Like your character's mood. Like, for example, is it really realistic for Nate to just kind of run off and build settlements and LARP as a Minuteman for like 52 hours straight after he saw his wife murdered in front of him and his son stolen? No, not really. Most fathers and husbands would be running off at the drop of a hat. But you as the player character, no, that's definitely not what you want to do. So off you go to kind of like do whatever for hundreds of hours and then eventually get around to the main story and shit like that. I mean, for all you know, or for all the story knows, you might fall in love with like Piper or some bullshit before you find your wife, or before you, you know, find your son again, and there's no like weird stuff going on with that. I don't know. Like, even Red Dead 2 can feel a little bit disconnected. Like, would it really be plausible for Arthur Morgan to like disappear for solid months in the wilderness, going off collecting dinosaur bones and shit because that's what you want to do? I mean, maybe. There's definitely circumstances where it may be beneficial, but overall I think Arthur is more of a family-driven or a gang-driven character, and those long stints that you might find yourself spending in nature like that don't really line up to what his character would probably do. And that's kind of the main issue with open world games like this that try to have like a tight, coherent, and impactful story. There's always going to be some sort of disconnect between the player's actions and the characters, or what the character would probably be doing in the circumstances. It's pretty difficult to get around that, but, you know, not impossible. It just requires, like, you know, a good writing team, which Fallout 4 didn't have. So, you know, we got this. Which is okay, I guess, but, you know, I really prefer my games to have, like, a story to them. By the way, we're taking all the tools that we can carry because they are worth, I think, 15 caps a pop to some goober in Vault 88. He'll just take them off our hands for us without any questions, without any haggling or anything like that, which is a pretty good deal to me, I think. I think the part that pushes it over the edge is that it's 15 caps as opposed to 10, like scrap metal used to be. And, you know, tools are wicked common. You can amass a pretty good collection of tools fairly quickly without really even trying. And it's pretty much just like free real estate, you know what I mean? I want to wait to go down in there because I think I gotta get advanced lock picking before I really I'm able to like go through the entire town. So after I go through this last house over here, we're going to be scrapping the entirety of the sanctuary and trying to like customize our weapons a little bit too, as well as like power level by putting down a bunch of fence posts. So you guys will be learning some gameplay tips and tricks off of me. It's kind of annoying, you know, some of the most basic gameplay tips and tricks, but like, you know, you'll be learning them nonetheless. Like, I'm not just gonna hang you guys out to dry. I'll show you like the best way I found to play the game, or start the game up and get a good little head start on the wasteland, you know. This is definitely another one of those things where it's like, the player's actions definitely don't line up with what Nate would really be doing. Like, is it plausible that Nate would, run around and like scrap his entire town at the drop of a hat and build hundreds of fence posts? Because, I don't think that's plausible in the slightest. Let's head over to the root cellar and get our loot. I can't remember if it's an advanced lock on the safe in there or an expert lock. If it's an expert lock, I guess we're coming back when we have another level, but so be it. You want to be looking for things like aluminum cans, by the way. Food. Food in general is fairly valuable. Like any food, regardless of, like, look, for example, the Blanco mac and cheese weighs 0.1 and is worth 10. So it's worth about 100 caps per pound. Graham, half a pound, 25 caps. So 1 pound is 50 caps, and it just goes on, 180 caps a pound. For the fancy lads, you want to be on the lookout for stuff like aluminum cans. Obviously, water's valuable to sell. Tin cans and cans give you steel, which isn't really that useful for a lot of stuff outside of settlement building. There we go. Yeah, it's an advanced lock on the safe, which was pretty handy, because I did not want to mark this down and come back here. But this is going to be a bit of an exception. I'm going to take everything out of the basement here, because I don't want to come back for materials. We don't really need the beer, actually. Alright. So that's about everything. Let's head back and get scrapping. You know, it's scrapping time, I said, and then I started scrapping everywhere. But first things first, we're gonna drop off the valuable loot inside of the workstation over there, or the loot that we want to scrap, and keep the rest of it on us. This is a bit tedious, I'm not gonna lie, but it's kind of worth it. So we want to keep the tools. The aluminum cans gotta go. That's all pretty decent stuff, especially the screws. Ball peen hammers we keep. Beer bottles can go. Cans can go. The cigar and cigar boxes we keep for selling. The same with the cigarettes. The copper can go. Duct tape can go. Flip lighters we hold on to. Same with the gold bars and gold plated watches, gold watches, brewer money we keep. The cigarette packs we keep. Screwdriver. There we go. Anything silver and gold you want to hang on to for caps to sell them. But the rest of this can go. You want to be on the lookout for anything with adhesive in it. Adhesive and screws are like the biggest materials that you want to keep an eye out for. Alright, it's scrapping time. Let's start again at the very end over here and just make our way back around. And then after that, we are going to we're gonna just you know, build as many fence posts and like little shit that we can to level up a little bit, maybe like 2 or 3 levels or some shit like that. Nothing crazy, you know what I mean? Like nothing crazy. I don't want to like get over leveled, because you really can get kind of carried away in the beginning of the game, you know, power leveling and shit like that, and wind up like making a lot of the early game wicked trivial, which is kind of a shame, because Bethesda games are known for their like that progression where you start off wicked helpless and desperate and shit, and then, you know, as time goes on you become like a walking god, you know, practically immortal. Nobody's capable of like even touching you, you know what I mean? And by intentionally power leveling, you kind of ruin that experience for yourself. Like you make an already pretty easy game a lot easier, to the detriment of most likely your enjoyment. Let's see here. Let's see what else is over here that I can just like get rid of. Rubber's pretty important, from what I remember. You want to hang on to the rubber. To quote Leisure Suit Larry, yes, I have lubbers. Flavored lubbers, rib lubbers, smooth lubbers. If anybody knows what part of Leisure Suit Larry that's from and what I'm referring to, you don't get nothing. That's really cool that you know it, but like, yeah, I don't really have a prize for anybody who knows that, so sorry. Okay, let's take a nice little jog back to the start, and then we'll work our way down and into this area after that. Like literally we're just gonna be ripping apart everything and anything that we can. This is gonna be a fairly long and tedious episode, if I'm honest, because it's a lot of just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like it gets especially boring with the fences. But you want that wood, man. You want that wood. I really wish you could double tap E to just continue scrapping this, but I get why they didn't want that to be so easy, because you could probably just one thing that's unforgivable is that it comes up on tab. I'll keep the doghouse, I guess. Fuck it. You know, nah, never mind. I really don't even enjoy having dog meat around, to be honest with you. Like normally what I do, I keep him along until I get to Fort Hagen, and then I disable him. Because to be honest with you, having companions in these games is like massively annoying in a lot of cases. Like they get in your way a lot. Like literally you can't move around inside of anywhere with a companion. They just clog up the doorways and shit. Even in like New Vegas and Fallout 3, companions are just mad annoying to have. I'm currently on a NCR playthrough, like my first NCR playthrough of New Vegas, and I've got both Boone and Dogmeat with me, and holy shit, does it ever get crowded inside of small interior cells. Like, you just can't move worth a damn. Like, there have been many times where it's just like I've been completely cramped up, or even worse, like you're trying to be stealthy, right? You're trying to sneak around, try not to draw too much attention to yourself, try not to be like conspicuous, and then all of a sudden, you know, they start going off on their own because they hear something in the next room or the next 5 rooms over or some shit like that, and all of a sudden, you know, you gotta like babysit them doing that, and it's just mad annoying. Kind of like what I'm doing now, actually. I hope everybody's having a good day. By the way, just wanted to toss it out there again. Hope it's all going good, you know. If anybody wants to share their day, you know, feel free to post up in the comments, let me know about it. Me personally, I've kind of like ran out of stuff to talk about in my personal life because not much is happening, you know. I'm kind of just doing my classes, doing whatever, still don't have a job, kind of just like putting along, you know what I mean? And it's definitely getting to me. It's definitely starting to get to me. Like, you know, mental health wise, it's definitely a problem, the way I'm living, and I'm kind of sick of it. I don't know what the fuck to do, you know. I feel like I don't want to get into it, man. This is an ASMR channel, not you know, Copeland's mental health extravaganza, so I ain't gonna say shit about shit, really. But I'm definitely not in the best headspace as of recently. I'll leave it there. Dude, how the fuck did that 20 wood, did that say, yo, 20 wood in a chair? There are trees out there that give you less wood in that chair. What? Dude, what? Yo, okay, so, what the fuck? You've gotta be kidding me. Okay, so the chair gives you 20 wood, and the table gives you 2. 20 wood is the same out of a fucking bed. Okay, whoever decided that needs to be fired, dude. That's ridiculous. My immersion is broken and my day is ruined. Like, that's not right, man. But we're gonna be here a while, just FYI. We are definitely gonna be here a while. Sanctuary is one of the largest settlements in the game by area, and there's a lot of stuff kind of just like, you know, out here, right? So it's gonna take a bit to kind of go through all this. These picket fences are the most annoying part by far, because they just straight up don't give you anything, and they take so long to get rid of. Like, holy shit, it should not be like this. And the fact it gives you 1 wood and a chair gives you 20 is insane. Like, insane. Look, watch. 12 wood. This is a whole ass tree, dude. And you're telling me it gives me less wood than a regular that was an even smaller tree, and it gave me more wood than the one right next to 20. Bro, I never even noticed that before. Oh my kidding me with this? That's, I don't know, it's just silly at best. That's silly at best, yo. Like, legit. Silly at best. You know, part of this really bothers me, that this scrapping process is like so tedious and so annoying. But at the same time, you know, from what I understand, the entire system was like thrown together. Like quite literally thrown together and then implemented. It was like a game jam thing that they wanted to do. You know, they were having like an internal game jam. And this came up as like a fun feature. And Todd Howard was like, oh, it sounds good to me. Get it ready by Friday. And here we are, you know. Like, it would have been really cool to like have a mass scrap. You know what I mean? Like a mass scrap feature, like a top-down sort of like drag and drop highlight sort of deal. Like, I want this entire area gone, like cleared, sort of thing. But unfortunately, that's not really what we got. We got this. And from what I understand, it works like okay. You know, like this is a decent settlement thing. Like, it's not the best thing that you could have in the world, but like it works for what it is. I wonder if any of you guys are excited for the 2024 presidential elections. I know I am. The 2016 and 2020 elections were like massive shit shows, and this is shaping up to be another one. 2016 in particular was like beyond funny because Trump kind of came in. I treated it like a massive joke because like it's fucking Donald Trump, dude. Like, how could you take that presidential campaign seriously? I know I didn't. He was mad funny though when he was in office, like on Twitter. That was by far the most entertainment I've had out of a US president. I would say the second most, but I was far too young to really remember much of George W. Bush's antics. If I remembered more about George W. Bush, I would most definitely say that he was the funnier of the two, but I can't say that in good faith. Good old GW was a character, dude. Was a character. Like, I kinda say the same thing about Joe Biden, right? Like, I see Joe Biden out and about, I say he needs an adult, you know? I felt the same way about George W. Bush. Like, you kinda just see GW out and about doing his thing, like when he went to China and tried the wrong door twice. Yeah, like, you can't help but feel like George W. Bush needed an adult at that time. And I kind of feel the same way about Biden, but that's for different reasons. One thing that amazes me about American politics is that we've got literal geriatrics in office, and it's not even like a new thing. Like, Ronald Reagan was ancient when he was in office, dude. Ronald Reagan was a fucking fossil by the 80s. You know, regardless of how you feel about the guy, he was old as dirt, dude, when he got the presidency. Like, at least Gerald Ford was like 50-something, you know what I mean? Even though he's a goober. Like, Truman was in his 50s. Truman was in his 50s. Eisenhower was in his late 50s, mid to late 50s. And like, all of a sudden we get this transition. I think LBJ was in his early 60s, I can't remember, or maybe late 40s. LBJ was kind of like a rough looking dude, so you can't really tell how old he was just by looking at him. Like, he's one of those guys where he could either be 45 or 65, and you just can't tell. but you know, it's like we kind of ran out of like young guys in office. I don't know what the hell happened. Even like Millard Fillmore probably wasn't even that old. I can't remember how old the guy was. I don't really study that part of American history. But like, goddamn. Like we went to this, there was this transition from like the Congress and our elected constituents, you know, our elected representatives being like the best that the citizenry had to offer, to being just like corrupt, power-hungry, money-grubbing scumbags who got to their positions through nepotism and connections beyond, you know, beyond what like the regular person would have. It became like a boys' club, you know what I mean? But not just for boys. In a lot of ways, I think a lot of local and town and city governors and like commissioners are in a lot of ways much worse, just because of like the level of control that they can enact over a small swath. Like, it's ridiculous. And despite being the local level of government, they tend to be completely untouchable, you know, by the people, despite being ostensibly elected by the people to represent the people, you know, their best interests, the people's best interests. And even then, they like fail to do that on such a simple level. And if we can't even control, you know, local and state governments, how do we expect to control people in like federal power? How do we expect to like put checks and balances on people like that, with far more, you know, resources and you know, much more, you know, a lot more power available to them to like get away with shit. Like Pelosi, for instance, massive amounts of insider trading, her and her husband. I don't care what anybody says, you don't get lucky on the stock market that many times, you don't make that many good calls. There's never been anybody in the history of trading who has made that many correct calls and it was able to grow their portfolio to that degree without engaging in illicit activities. There's never been one person who has managed to get that level of gain so consistently, without being, you know, a scumbag, really. And it's like, it's so obvious and yet nobody does anything about it. There's no investigation, there's nothing. Just even, my god, man. I don't want to talk about it, man. It bothers me. A lot of this shit bothers me. A lot. You know, I think part of it is that everybody disses like a genuine, like one of the biggest fear-mongering terms is, oh, he's a populist. He's a populist, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. He's just, he's not a, like they try and discredit somebody by making them the popular candidate. So you literally can't win either way. If you don't get enough votes, you know, you're a fucking loser. But if too many people like you, if the general public likes you, right, you're a populist candidate and therefore a threat. You know, you just represent mob mentality, yo. Crazy shit, man. Just can't win. End of the day, a lot of it's just word games, and if you're illiterate like me, word games don't matter because you can't fucking read. Pretty neat, to be honest with you. Pretty neat little solution to that problem. There we go. It's gonna bug me not being able to scrap this entire countertop. Having it just kind of like here. It's gonna bug me. I don't really know why that counter is like not scrappable. There's no real good reason for it. I like how the box implies that Codsworth is a recent addition to the family, and yet somehow he's like the most loyal member of the family. Not to imply that that Nora getting domed means she's not loyal, but like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, he's probably just programmed to like stick around and shit, but still. Codsworth has like a moment, you know, he's got a genuine moment with Nate there, where he breaks down crying or something. Which also brings up the question, are robots in Fallout sentient? Are they sentient beings? Like, what do they think? Do they feel? Like, some of them definitely do, like Codsworth, well, especially in like Bethesda games. They blur that line, like, are robots in Fallout like practically people? A lot of times, yes, but to me, they're just droids, dude. Fuck them. I really don't care about them at all. Like, they've got personalities and shit, but like, they're made out of metal and I'm not, so fuck them. Like, there's just so much like, there's just a lot of ambiguity in it. And I guess in Fallout New Vegas, like, Eddie's definitely sentient. There's something going on there, you know what I mean? But I think they're pretty consistent with a lot of the other shit. It's always ambiguous, I'd say, but more than likely you could consider the robots in Fallout sentient, you know, more often than not. Like, there's definitely straight up dumb robots, right? Like the Nuka-Cola robots, right? The Nuka-Cola guards or some shit. Oh, right, how you just go into the Nuka-Cola plant. The most iconic line of Fallout 3 to me are those droids screaming at you. You're trespassing on Nuka-Cola property. You know, that really amused me when I was a kid. Cause like that juxtaposition of having this killer robot coming at you shooting lasers while screaming the most cheery like the most cheery is like ripped straight from a television ad, you know, drink Nuka-Cola, and they just rip that voice line and slam it in the robot trying to kill you. Something about that I found very amusing, and I still do. If anyone remembers the YouTube channel Crocodile, he did a very lengthy Fallout 3 playthrough, and I watched so much of it when I was a kid. I watched up to like episode 300 or some shit. But that was what got me into Fallout. Watching this like goober really play Fallout 3 extremely poorly, refuse to do any inventory management whatsoever, and like somehow managed to get by in the wasteland. I found that series like extremely funny, but I was also like, you know, 8 or 10 or some shit, so you know, you can't really judge it now based on that metric. You can't judge it now like at all, unfortunately, because he deleted the entire classic series, which bothers me to no end, because I watched the shit out of his videos when I was a kid, dude, and seeing them gone like that, man, it tears me up a little bit. I used to make popcorn when I got home from school, make a couple bowls of popcorn, pour some butter on there, and like get all cozy with a Diet Coke and watch that shit in the family computer for like 3 hours straight. It was pretty wild, man. I remember I actually got caught up in the series at one point, and I was so confused because I watched so much of it, you know. I was like, how am I caught up? Like, what the fuck? Where's the new one? Like, what's going on? I was so confused. And I just didn't watch it for like a solid 2 months, and I finally came back to it. And I was just watching it after that too. Man. Another YouTube channel I watched a lot when I was younger was Shady Paradox. The guy did Let's Plays of Cyan games. Primarily, I watched his Real Mist walkthrough and Mist 3 walkthrough. I found them to be thoroughly entertaining, along with Diandu 3000 and his Riven playthrough, although I mostly come back to that for Sleepaid. Like, I found that guy's voice to be extremely relaxing. For those of you interested, the channel name is Diandu 3000, DIANDU 3000, just the numbers 3000. It was like something about the guy's accent and cadence and the general tone and like level of volume in the videos was like, it was like watching Bob Ross. Like, it just put you out, especially when he would read the journals in the game, because, you know, Riven is a game about books. Journals are like a big part of the game. So he would read them in their entirety because they provide a lot of context, and that shit used to put me out cold, like ice cold, yo. That was probably the first time I encountered like videos on YouTube that were like sleep aids to me, that I would go out of my way to watch before bed because they would get me like slumped. I obviously also had the DVD of like Arthur Ganson and the machines and all that. But when it came to like online stuff, Diandu was the first, the GOAT for me. I still go back to his stuff, even today, to like nod off. It's like that effective for me. He also provides like a very handy walkthrough of Riven. By the way, if anybody is struggling with that game, I know it's like I think a 30-year-old game at this point, but it's still difficult, you know. Just because it's an old game doesn't mean it's like not tough to play. So if you're having trouble with that, he does a very detailed and informative walkthrough series on the game. But one thing I definitely do remember about Shady Paradox is waiting for a long time for the guy to like come back with the rest of his Mist 3 walkthrough, because I found it supremely entertaining, and I waited so long for him to like finish up that series. And I'm pretty glad, you know, he did. For a while, I was kind of afraid he'd like just scrap the project and like never come back to it. But, you know, he did, and it was great. Shady P is like a great entertainer, if I do say so myself. So we're coming up on the rest of Sanctuary at this point. We're hopefully about to wrap up, scrapping everything. Definitely getting close to it. You know what? I'm gonna leave this fucking picket fence, dude. It's not worth my time at all. Let's see what we can do with all this here. Concrete, wood, rubber. Alright. Get that tree. Oh, there we go. Another tree, another 20 wood. So I'll show you a little bit of what we're about to do before I end the video. And because it's somehow more annoying than what we're doing now. And like it's legit, you're gonna be suffering through that content, ASMR or not. Because there's only so much I can really say over like the same mundane tasks over and over. And trust me, building wooden posts over and over and over and over is by far one of the most tedious and kind of bullshit things you could be doing. Why did that picket fence give you 10, but the rest of them give you like 1? My god, dude. I feel like a barrel should give you more than 4 pieces of wood. I don't know. Whoever decided, you know, what materials give you what, or what objects give you what amount of materials, like choose ceramic for an entire bathtub. Like that's a little bit funky, dude. We're taking that, that's valuable, yo. Alright. Now for the trees outside, and after that we can get cracking on building as many fence posts as we physically can. I like I can just do 30, that's it for a tree cluster, and that's so bogus. Whatever, dude. Alright. Tree cluster. I'm just glad it doesn't make you scrap each tree like individually. That would be I'd probably complain more about that. Like we're in a no-win situation. Like this is tedious, busy work. No matter how you cut it, but like you kind of have to do it if you want the most out of Sanctuary. Like you gotta be doing this, which kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, but you know. I'll get over it, I guess. Those picket fences are just so ugly. I hate looking at them, but like for the amount of wood that you get out of them, it's just not, like 3 wood, not worth it, dude. So I'm just gonna like not deal with it. This playground's gotta go, yo. This was most definitely a nice neighborhood back in the day. How come I can't get rid of these? Alright, whatever. Really? Okay. Alright, so that's everything scrapped. So do you want to see what we're about to be doing? Brace yourself. See if I can remember where this stuff is. hell you're doing, man. Like, and then you just level up. You keep doing this till you level up, man. So, with that little explanation out of the way, I think I'll get like 3 levels here. And then after that, we'll bail out. So now we're level 4, cool. This is literally all you do. You can do it until you run out of wood and like be an over-leveled goblin. But, you know, I'd rather not. Because not only would that be extremely boring, it would kind of ruin the early game progression, if I'm honest with you. Alright, level 5. Let's see what perks we can get. I've got, yeah, 3 perks, perfect. So first things first, I think I'm gonna get Rifleman, Gunslinger, and then Fortune Finder. I'll get 1 more perk actually. I'm gonna do 1 more level and get Scrounger, because both those perks are kind of broken. Like, it's like free ammo, free money. You really want to get those out of the way. Scrounger, especially Scrounger, is extremely useful. Because a lot of the times ammunition is, well, you can use ammo obviously to shoot people with, and you can sell it. Caps are like pretty mid. The Fortune Finder pops are like kind of rare. And you'll always find like that one big purchase that will like wipe you out in this game. Like if you're not trying to grind caps specifically with like a settlement designed specifically for that, like you're gonna find yourself kind of like on the rocks a lot of the time. But with Scrounger and Fortune Finder, it's like, you know, you're gonna be good. No matter what, you're gonna be straight. Alright, that's enough of that. And that's the only reason I got 2 luck instead of 1. So I can get those Fortune Finder perks and all that. Before we go, let's up our arsenal. Automatic. Straight up hardened, I think. Short barrel. One thing you can do in Fallout 4 is cheese. There we go, we got it. You see how we clicked on long barrel, but I dragged it down to long light barrel. And now I can make that. Watch. Bang. We can get that without having a gun nut perk. It only works for the one right below it. So there we go. Got it again for the sharpshooter's grip. I'm good on that. I can't really do much there. And we're out of adhesive, which is bothersome. So let's see if we can do anything with our armor, I guess. No, we're dead out of adhesive and leather. one thing you can do from the crafting menu is like earmark materials that you need to find, which is wicked handy. But with that out of the way, let's call the video here. Hope you all enjoyed, and hope you all have a good night or a good day. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video.